This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
You're listening to INCRadio.
Broadcasting live from Chicago, Illinois. DZEM 954 AM station. Here to bring you great conversations about faith, people, places, culture, and recent events all around the district. Join us on YouTube at INCRadio.org. Hello, Northern Midwest and the rest of the world. It's time to get this show started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to INCRadio Northern Midwest. I am your host for today, I'm John Cruz. Thank you for tuning in with us. It's time to get the show started. And, since I feel like this is in season, so let's talk about, like gratitude, but not just gratitude, because this is like something that's been on my mind lately, like something, there's like, I guess there's things or there's people that we're grateful for that we haven't really had the opportunity to like thank or to even like mention or acknowledge, right? So that's kind of like what we're going to be talking about today. I'm joined here by two of my friends, Abe and Tony. Thanks for joining me in this topic discussion. So I'm gonna start off light. I'm gonna start off light with you guys. I'm not gonna go deep into the questions yet. So like maybe this happened this week or this month, like when was the last kind of like the last time you remember saying thank you, and like what was it?
It was today or recently. Today. I'm sure I said it today, and I remember saying it yesterday. Because at work, I actually held the door open for someone, and vice versa, because I was following somewhat close behind someone going into work, and so I said thank you, because like it's kind of like a smaller entrance, so we're following kind of close between behind the person, right? Like clocking into work. So yeah, I said thank you because they held the door open for me, basically. So yeah, that was the last time I remember saying it.
How about you, Tony? Like when's the last time you said thank you, and like what was it for?
Pretty sure it was today. Sometimes it's I don't want to call it habit, but sometimes it kind of is. It's just something that naturally rolls off your tongue. For me, at least, like when I go through the drive-through, say thank you. Like I got coffee earlier, so like thank you. When as I'm pulling away. So that
Yes.
really stuck to me was probably the other day when I was leaving a matcha place. I had stuff in my hand, and this person, I didn't know that they were following behind me, but like I went out the door, and then I didn't realize that they were there. So I usually look behind, but this is the one time that I didn't, and the door ended up hitting them, and it knocked over their drink. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I felt so bad. I ran up to I was about to pay for their drink. I was going to pay for another drink. They're like, no, it's okay. Like, don't even worry about it. And then she was just like, thank you. You're just like, I hope you have like a great rest of your day. And I was just like, that was such a wholesome like interaction that I just remembered. And it was like the way that she said thank you was just like one of those like,
I
felt
would say
bad. I still feel bad.
I'm glad that like her reactions like not like she didn't get mad about it. It's just like I think she understands, kind of like that feeling of like you're sort of like you were carrying stuff like you were saying, right? Like you're sort of like in this in this sort of like predicament situation, like that she understood like. you didn't really mean it. Like for me, I would say something. I'm pretty sure I've said thank you like throughout this week, but the one that kind of like stuck to me is like um last Sunday, because last Sunday was my birthday, and it's kind of like the amount of like the people who kind of like wanted to celebrate it with me, like even just greeting me, like I got to hang out with some of my friends. I got to hang out with my family, like others as well. Like I'm not someone who easily says thank you in the way that I actually kind of like mean it deeply. And I'm saying that because I say thank you sometimes, like when someone opens the door for me, when someone does something for me, I just kind of like, like what Tony was saying, it's kind of just like instinct, kind of like say thank you. Like it's just a polite thing to do, but to like kind of like deeply mean it, like when you say it, that's why it's stuck with me because it's like one of those moments where it's like when saying thank you is like it has had like a deep meaning for me. But for you guys, I don't know you kind of answered this already. But for you guys, like is saying thank you just kind of like natural for your day? Like do you sometimes find it hard to kind of like say, even though you want to say it, you're kind of struggling a little bit.
For me, like when we're talking about, like general like gestures, like holding the door open for someone, or like
Mm-hmm.
being, or like needing help with like a task, something like that, then I would find it pretty easy to say thank you, right? Because you're appreciating the help, with a task or like a project. Or I don't want to say like something, like material, but like it's kind of like a more immediate action where it's like more comfortable for me to say thank you. But if we get into something a bit more internal, maybe like they helped you through a tough time, and if for me at least, uh as someone who tries to maybe do things on their own, or like tries to not rely on others for help too much,
Mm-hmm.
when I do receive that help, it could be a little bit of a pride thing, but it's hard for me to say the words thank you, although I do, feel grateful for the work that they did, for the help that they gave. So I might not say it, but I'll find a way to show it that I'm
Mm.
grateful. Yeah.
No, I kind of get that a little bit too. But I want to hear what you have to say, Tom.
Me, I feel for the I'm so big on words. It's it comes down is when it's
Okay, well,
uh,
she figures out like her internet connection. I think it's cutting. I think her internet connection's cutting. So yeah, like I do get what like you're saying. Like I, I, I would say I don't think it's like a pride to like like kind of like your ego's kind of like hurt to say thank you. I think it's more like
hear me now.
when they've helped you so much, you kind of feel like saying thank you is not enough, right? That's kind of like what I'm getting though. But oh, I see her. Yeah, I think her internet's come back now, so I don't want to get her thoughts on it. Go ahead, Tony.
Um, I was gonna say I'm thankful for the harder things in terms of like let's say a hard conversation that you needed to have where your friend will point out something to you that maybe wasn't the easiest thing for them to say, but it's like a constructive like criticism on your part. Like that's the stuff that I struggle to say thank you with sometimes. Because in that moment you might not want to hear it. It's like harder to receive it, but then later on you're like, okay, yeah, thanks. I needed that. Like,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. I feel like thank yous when it's good is easier to give, but thank yous when it's like it's a growing moment. I feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
harder to say thank you, but I still strive to, even though in that moment I'm like, you should like sigh.
when it's a growing moment. Like I love that term, a growing moment, right? That's like when it's hard to say like thank you. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. But like the reason that I did ask like you guys about it, like if you struggle to say like thank you, is because of like this next question, which is like like can you think about like someone who you never got a chance to thank them, but like you still like when you remember them, like to this day, when you remember them, you're still grateful for like what they did. You have someone like that. It doesn't have to be someone you know. It can be like a total stranger. It can be like someone you've only met like once, or like a friend of a friend.
Uh I feel like moments where the kindness was unexpected and you don't know like who it's from. Like there are moments I think people have um kind of rescued me without knowing that they did. Like that day that I was I didn't, have anything I'd prepared for lunch. Like somebody ended up, paying for like bring like food in and like, oh man, that really saved me because I didn't I didn't have anything, like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um or I don't know if you've ever experienced like going through the drive, like when people do the pay it forward thing,
Mm.
and then like they pay for like that's happened to me a couple times where someone just randomly like they're like, oh your meal is covered. And I was like, what? I was like, how did they even know what I ordered? They're
Mhm.
just like, I guess they just, out of the
Mm-hmm.
kindness of the heart, they just decided like whatever they order, like you can put it on my card. I'm like,
Okay.
that kind of stuff.
Mm. How about you?
Like trying to recall um a specific moment, but generally whenever I've had, moments wherein, for those who, know me a bit more closer, there are times wherein I get a little more introverted, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd rather, spend time, on my own and, just like do my own thing, and not really want to hang out at times. But
Mm-hmm.
at those moments where it's happened more often, and someone sends a message, it's kind of like what Tony's mentioned about like something maybe a little unexpected happening,
Mm-hmm.
like for those like friends who like check up on you, or I've heard other instances where like they surprise you with like food and like drop it off at your door or something like that. But those types of moments, where someone checks in and is like, hope you're having a good day. um maybe in that immediate moment I don't respond with the thank you. And then also with me, I probably would just like forget later on to say thank you because it just slips my mind. But um yeah, those moments, looking back, you do wish at times like you did say thank you, to express your gratitude for
Mm-hmm.
for them being there when you didn't necessarily expect it. So uh yeah, those type of moments for me.
Mm-hmm. I was hoping I guess would mention someone specific. Because for me, like when I think about it, okay, like that. Mine's not too specific either. Like I, I'm gonna shout out Snowing Heads again because again, it's like I feel like Snowing Heads like the first locale where I sort of like kind of came out of my shell. You know, it's like, and it's because of this their insistence to include me in everything. And I know that I know when I said it, I sound annoyed, but like I am very grateful for that because like I always hid away like in my shell, and they really made that effort to kind of like include me, like, like in all of the activities, all of the things, right, and making sure that I'm a part of it. I'm like like I'm not just kind of like a wallflower or whatever you call that. Where it's like they made sure that I was included in like in like whatever was happening. So like that's kind. I mean, um, like since then, there's been like a lot more people who's like kind of like helped me kind of like discover my confidence like more and more, right? But like that's always I always look back at that. It's like this is kind of like the starting point, like for me. It's like it's this like I feel like if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here on radio. I wouldn't have like this kind of confidence. Maybe I would, in maybe there's gonna be like there would have been some other instances, but like for me, this is like what I remember. This is like where I started, like here. Like I started off really shy, not wanting to talk to people. Now, now, now I'm kind of like at the point here in the district where I could go to any locale and I can say that I know at least one person from each locale. you know? Like I have one person that I know from each locale just because of like how many people I've been able to interact with. And I wouldn't have had kind of like that confidence if the the Kadima specifically didn't didn't uh insist on like including me in all of the events. Again, it's not a singular person, it's like it's more like a group. And I don't think I've ever got to say thank you to like at least to everyone. And I've been able to say it to like some of them, but not everyone. I haven't been able to tell everyone. But it's like it's something that every time I look back at it, I still think of it like when like kind of like this gratitude of like if I
I'll play it for
didn't
all of
do
them individually. I'll
no,
play it
no.
back for them. Here, watch. EJ wants to say thank you.
Yes, I want to say thank you to all of you. If you're watching this, thank you. But it's just like kind of like what I want to, like I want to tell them because, like again, like looking back, it's like I haven't been able to say, I wasn't able to say thank you to everyone, but I still remember everyone with gratitude because I still look at that event as like this is like where it started for me. But speaking of events, like not specific to people, but have you guys ever experienced like maybe challenges, like even I would say even like if you failed at something that, looking back now, you're grateful that that happened because it might have taught you something like, it led you to where you are now. I'm seeing some thinking faces.
I feel like I may have talked about this event years ago on INCRadio, but once upon a time, I worked at a very well-known beverage company. I was in quality assurance, but the hours that I had worked, or the shift that was that I was hired for, was very out of my norm. And there wasn't a set shift time. Like I wasn't, let go at the end of the day after like 8 hours. It was very production based, so we had to reach, like a quota before we could, leave for the night. Yeah, I was in addition. Yeah, that shift was like a second shift. I don't even call it like second shift anymore because I started at like 2 p.m, and it wasn't uncommon for me to like be done like after midnight. So but there were times where it would be like a full 12-hour shift, and that the shift could change from time to time. Like I remember sometimes starting at like 4 p.m. and would be done at like 4 a.m. But I am very thankful that job didn't last long for me. Because as a member of the church, and being an officer, it would conflict with my ability to attend worship service. And so I was very grateful that, although the circumstance was me being let go, I was very glad that it happened. I was very thankful that it ended up working the way that it did. And as a result, a couple of weeks later, or maybe a month later, I found a job that would was more flexible in when I would be able to work, um, and I would still be able to perform all of my duties in the church. And so, although you know I could put on my resume that I worked at that place, I'm still thankful for the opportunities that I had there. But in the end, it did lead to something that I feel was
No.
much more rewarding.
Okay. Like kind of like that work, like, and I would say it helped you kind of determine like your boundaries with
Yes.
work, right?
Mhm.
Like this is what I want to work. Because I feel like in your first job, you're not. Uh, Stop me if I'm wrong. Like in your first job, you're not really picky with like what you do. You're just
No.
kind of like, okay, whoever's gonna hire me, like I'm gonna do the
Well,
work.
I think the bonus maybe there was the name of
Mhm.
it. Like it's a very well known company, and so like to have that attached kind of to you is like, oh cool. Like, and I
Mhm.
was
Mhm.
much younger at the time, so like I was very excited to be like when if people would ask you like, oh, where do you work, and then you say you're like, I work for this company, like everyone would be amazed. But um yeah, at the end of the day, right,
Mhm.
you find something much more important and valuable. So
Mhm. How about you, John? Do you have like any experiences that you kind of look grateful on?
I can't isolate a single event. Um, what I will say is that most of the time, the the events or like the, I'll say, perceived failures have been more to do with less about it actually, like whether or not you define it as a failure. In my mind, it's I feel like it was always a failure. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but in the sense, like, let's say you're responsible for something or you're leading something, like I feel like any leadership role, I've always had some kind of commentary in my mind that, like, this is not enough. Like, this is not what I think it should be, um, whatever it may be. But
Mhm.
what I will say is that now, learning from the different experiences, whether it was in projects, whether it was dealing with people, I think it's made me more resilient in the sense that, resilient and flexible, just because if you don't experience those kinds of situations, especially when you go to kind of deal with it in your mind, um, it doesn't really teach you to face hard things if you don't. Sorry, this is getting like really deep. I don't mean it to be
Yeah,
that
go
way, but
ahead.
it if you aren't able to kind of face it, it doesn't make you stronger. I guess it's that's kind of what I mean in that sense. Where, um, of course, you do have to address it at some point. I think it took me a while to kind of address the perception that I had of things that I was dealing with. But I hope I'm
Mhm.
making sense when I say this. But I appreciate the experiences that I've gone through, even though for me, I didn't like how it turned out because of that. It's pushed me to be, um, to reach for higher standards, to kind of, to push for more, to see how things can be improved, not at the expense of like burnout, of course, like finding the balance still and learning
Mhm.
contentment as well, but just trying to raise the bar. I think, that's what I'm grateful for in the different, because I feel like I've gone through different experiences that made me, feel like they were failures. They might not have necessarily been to other people, but for me they were, in
Mhm.
terms of what I was hoping for. But I feel like that's what I kind of think of when I hear that question, is like, I may not have liked how it turned out, but it taught me to be more flexible, more open, and more resilient, I think.
Mhm. I think the important part is like it's not that you'll look on it like you look on it like fondly. I would say like it because it might not have been like the best like the best like, feeling experience, but it's like,
Mhm.
this sort of like you look at it kind of like uh sort of a starting point to where you like this is like kind of contributed to like in helping shape, like who I
Yeah.
am today. I feel like that's kind of like the point. So whether it's like, whether it's people, whether it's experiences like we've talked about today, like it's like there's still this sort of like feeling of gratitude to it, right? We want to say thank you to it, which is actually what we're going to be learning from our CSD department. They will be teaching us how to sign thank you.
This is your song.
Hello everyone, I'm Brother Cameron, the CSD advisor in the District of Great Lakes. And this week our word is thank you. There's two ways to sign the word thank you. We have thank you, we have thank you. Usually when it's two hands, it's you're much more appreciated. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
This is your song.
And we say thank you to, once again to our CSD officers for giving us our sign of the week. We also would like to say thank you to everyone in our district who's been consistently supporting our CFO activities, and we would like to share more of them with you now in our CFO segment, our CFO in action. As you can see on your screen, here are the upcoming activities for the District of Great Lakes. On July 28th, the district will hold an officers meeting, again for all officers throughout the entire district. On August 2 and 3, each local congregation will hold its INC giving activity, its neighborhood appreciation. Please check with your local congregation for the specific time and day of your activity. On the weekend of August 16 and 17, the district will be holding its Unity Games Softball Edition. More details will be given out as soon as we have them. And lastly, on the 31st of August, the district will be once again holding a musical evangelical mission. Again, once we have the final details, we will let you all know so that you can share the activity with your friends and your loved ones so that they can witness the many talents of our brethren throughout the entire district. Yes, with all of these activities which are coming up, we can't wait to see all of you there participating in all of these. Again, we got such a wide variety of events and activities that are coming up, so we can't wait to see all of you there, wherever you may be coming from. Just like today's broadcast, wherever you are watching from, we are very thankful on behalf of the INCRadio crew. Very thankful that you are all joining us on a weekly basis and sharing our broadcasts. We would like to give a very special thanks to those in our district leading us. In the District of Great Lakes, we would like to give our gratitude, our grateful thanks to Brother Art Agag, our Assistant District Minister, and to Brother Elmer Sarmiento, who is our District Minister. For INCRadio, we would like to give thanks to our Station Manager, Brother Awali Taray, and we would like to give thanks to our Deputy Executive Minister, Brother Angelo Aranyo V. Manalo, and our Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, again for giving us this platform to share the activities of the Great Lakes District to those who are listening to us all over the world. And in this very special weekend, we would like to join everyone all around the world, all of members of the Iglesianicristo Church of Christ, in celebrating our 111th anniversary. That is all for this week's broadcast of INCRadio Northern Midwest. Don't forget that you can tune in every week, 4 p.m. Central, which is 5 p.m. Eastern, here in the United States. Don't forget to share our broadcast, and we will see you once again next week. Take care, and don't forget to be phenomenal.
This is INCRadio, DZEM 954, the voice of truth, the official